right, guys, how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? We back again to do what we do best. Hey, for you out there that don't know who we are, this is Outside the Square Circle. I'm Dennis Ragland. That's Frank Nares. We're here to give you the overview of what happened at tonight's fights. First off, the fight that happened first was Robert Ghost Guerrero versus Aron Martinez. I'm going to first let Mr. Frank Nares cover the first fight. But before we do that, guys, I got to give a big shout out to Boxing Videos Only for Fights. They are a Facebook site. They're really great. Their videos, they got the best videos that I've seen thus far. And so if you're looking for great posts and great videos, and you're on Facebook, please give them a like. Share their videos. They're really good. But like I said, everybody, we here to cover the fights. We had a great night of action. I can't wait to dive into it. I know you can't wait too, Frank. So, hey, go ahead. Take us away, man.
All right, so with the Robert Guerrero fight, to be honest with you, it was a little surprising to, I think, everybody involved, from the fans to Robert Guerrero himself, because it was supposed to be an easy fight for him. It was supposed to be a fight for him to come back, look really good on national TV after he just got whooped by Keith Thurman, not even, 3-4 months ago. So, I mean, and he was facing a guy that doesn't have much power either, so to see Robert Guerrero get knocked down early in that fight was really, really surprising. But other than that, I mean, it was a fight that you can really predict from a Robert Guerrero fight. A lot of scrappy, dirty inside fighting. And when I say dirty, I don't mean illegal moves. I just mean they were both being dogs on the inside. And actually, surprisingly, I thought Martinez got the better of him on the inside, which is really hard to do against Robert Guerrero because that's his game. He loves being on the inside. All in all, I thought it was a really close fight. I could have seen it being a draw. I could have seen, 95-94 for Martinez. I could have seen 95-94 for Robert Guerrero. But with all that being said, that 97-92 card was disgusting. How in the world can you... That was ridiculous. Because to me, there were a lot of very definitive rounds in that fight. And when I look at fights, or even when I score fights, I like to... circle or put a check mark by swing rounds. And I didn't see too many swing rounds in that fight. I mean, towards the middle, maybe one or two. But I didn't score this one, so I can't give you guys exactly which ones I thought were swing rounds. But for the most part, the ones that Martinez won, we know he won. And a lot of them were in the early to mid rounds, and then Robert Guerrero came on late like he usually does. And the rounds that he won were very definitive. So there weren't very many swing rounds in that fight. So that 97-92 card was a really bad card. But other than that, I can't be mad at the decision as a whole. It was a very close fight. What did you think about it, Dennis?
All right, I'm going to start off, and I'm going to tell you what I thought about it. First, I got to say, hey, Blackhawks, let's go. I had to do that. I'm sorry. Every time I'm going to try, if I can, to represent my Chicago teams, okay, that's no here, no there. Let's go. Well, I got to be honest with you. I don't have particularly a whole lot to say about it. You covered it pretty well. Well, the things I will say about it is just like Keith Thurman, he was quoted saying that he think Robert Guerrero came back a little bit too soon. I would like to echo those thoughts and say I can agree with that. I think he should have taken a little bit longer break. I mean, because he took a pretty severe beat by the hands of Keith Thurman. I think he should have gave his not only his body but his mind some time to just relax, be fresh, and then he can come back maybe later on, June, August, late June or August. Not right away. But besides that, the fight I was watching it, and it seemed like, to me, I don't know if Robert Guerrero thought that kid Martinez could hurt him until he got off the canvas. I mean, a guy with only 4 knockouts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't go in there fighting a guy like that with the mentality that, this guy's going to hurt me. But the guy came in there, Martinez, he came in there with the mentality that it was his fight to win. So he was going to come in there and get everything he had. And when he came in there from the beginning, swarming him, and it worked to his advantage. So that right there, I thought it kind of put Robert Guerrero at a disadvantage, because that changes your mindset when you come to fight a guy that you think don't particularly can hurt you, and then you get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of switches the game plan a little bit. But we all know Robert Guerrero was tough as nails. He stood there. He was ready to trade and fight. But I thought from that beginning, and his mind, his mentality changed. And I got to be honest, I didn't, like you said, I didn't keep the score either for this particular fight. I didn't. Usually I do for every fight, me and you both. I didn't for this fight, but I did thought that the split decision should have went to Martinez. I mean, at best, I would have figured it would have been a draw, but that's what happens when you got a guy like with the bigger name.
Mm-hmm.
If once he went in there and he got dropped and he came back and he started making it a good scrappy fight, I'm not going to say that Martinez necessarily took his foot off the gas, because I thought he was doing a pretty good job, but he could have did a couple of more things that made it a little bit more convincing that he did win that fight.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I got to say that Robert Guerrero's stock dropped on this fight.
Yeah.
I think even though he did pull out this win, he didn't win convincingly. Like I said, it left doubt in a lot of people's minds, especially mine. So this doesn't work in his favor. I think that Robert Guerrero probably won't have trouble getting fights because of the fact that he does bring it every
you know
fight.
what? And
no matter what, Robert Guerrero is going to bring it.
yeah, you're right. He is going to bring it. I think to a bigger point, what people are starting to realize is that Robert Guerrero is pretty bland at welterweight. He doesn't really do anything great. He doesn't have power to even a fight up. So I think what Robert Guerrero's career is turning into right now is a gatekeeper. And to a bigger point, I think it shows you how weak that the welterweight division was when Floyd Mayweather fought Robert Guerrero, because Robert Guerrero did deserve a chance at Floyd when he fought him, which is, when you look back now, you think, wow, the welterweight division must have been really, really weak then, and it was kind of weak, because now you're looking at all these young guns coming up that are a lot better than Robert Guerrero. So I think he's really developing into the gatekeeper at 147. He's taking Berto's spot.
Yeah, I think that's a fight. Like, I was getting ready to touch on what he should happen next, and I was getting ready to say that I got to say, even though that I didn't really think much of Aron Martinez, but I think even with a loss, he definitely deserves a shot. I'm not saying that a major contender at welterweight, but he does deserve a name opponent next time because of his showing in this fight. And I was going to go on and say I would love to see Berto versus Robert Guerrero. I would like to see that rematch. Given that I know Berto will do a lot better, that he doesn't come in there and try to fight with the shoulder roll this time and under Virgil Hunter. I think he can definitely come in there and fight a much, much better fight.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that. I would like to see them run that back if Berto's willing, because at this particular point, I don't know if Berto even has to take that fight, but right. I would like to see it just as a fan.
All right, so on to the Miguel Cotto-Daniel Geale fight. Now, since I spoke first on Robert Guerrero, I'm going to go ahead and let Dennis give us his thoughts on the fight.
I have had numerous arguments in this fight. Just got over on this. And I'll start off with, I was saying that Daniel Geale didn't seem to be himself. For those people that watch, that have seen a few Daniel Geale fights like myself, we know the guy, he's not a power puncher. I'm not going to say he's an amazing tactician, but he definitely does have some skill, and he will outbox you. If you come half slacking, he's definitely a boxer. He can prove him to be slick. He's not the type of guy that when he gets hit or when he gets hurt, he just necessarily flees away for the rest of the night. He's a proven guy to fight many people, and he fights through if he gets knocked down. Mm-hmm. He's going to get back up, and he's going to remain busy. But tonight, he just didn't seem himself to me in my eyes. And I had to say, well, why did Geale just, he seemed gun-shy and reluctant. And a few people thought it was from the opening gates of when Cotto hit him with the body shot, which could have been. I just didn't necessarily believe that to be so, even though this is a particularly different fight from when Geale fought GGG, and GGG hurt him, and Geale still was firing off shots, even though he doesn't have a lot of power to hurt GGG. I'm not saying GGG, he made him knock him out by being a little bit more aggressive and getting countered. But with this one, we seen a little bit reluctant Geale. And what I noticed, I I watched it because the fight was so quick, I was able to watch it 2 times. And from what I seen, it was the greatness and the consistent, accurate jab of Miguel Cotto. Yes, I know everybody want to say they're body punching, but that jab was beautiful, and that jab set up other things. That jab set up body punches, and what happened was with Cotto jab, it offset Geale so much it made him have to continue to keep it every time he come in. He had to continue. It made him to continue to restart and stop him right in the middle of what he was getting ready to do. That what made Geale looked so reluctant and not himself. Because if you, I don't know if you heard, even his corner was like, "Hey, you need to start getting a little bit more busy to get in this." But when you got a guy like Cotto that has a beautiful jab and he's accurate with it, and on top of that, he's setting him up for body punches, vicious body punches, I may say, that can darn sure make you look a little bit gun-shine reluctant. So that's, guys, if you disagree with me or if you have something to say, give me your opinion. We're definitely open to hearing what you think about it. If you think he was reluctant, if he wasn't, or why he was. Get in the comments and let us know. But that's why I thought he looked reluctant on one aspect of the fight. But I got to give all the credit to Miguel Cotto. I mean, before the fight, me and Frank both were saying that Cotto needs to look spectacular in this fight.
Yep.
And my God, he did. He looks rejuvenated. He looks focused. He looks like that bad man, Mr. Cotto, from back in the day that was just coming to bring the fight. Cotto's he's a bad man. He reminds me of when Mark Jackson say, "Mama, there goes that man." That is the Miguel Cotto I see.
That's funny.
You know, I mean, yeah, he's the Miguel Cotto I see. A lot of people's like I'm touching a few other things. A lot of people saying that how they thought Miguel Cotto Freddie Rose seemed to be falling off a little bit. Some was hitting that his Parkinson's was getting a little bit worse, and he wasn't able to train as much. They even blamed it. Maybe that's why Pacquiao didn't perform the way he did. He wasn't giving great advice, or he wasn't giving him enough advice to have him make adjustments. But I got to say this: he's doing a heck of a job with Miguel Cotto. He has really turned Miguel Cotto around. I don't know what he is doing. One, he isn't doing with the other, but I got to say, kudos Freddie Roach. He has we even see at the end of the fight, Miguel Cotto he said, "Hey, it's Freddie Roach. You know, I got to give the credit to him because he really looks like a great rejuvenated fighter that I can't wait to see many fights." But right now, I got to say, overall, I know GGG may be, if I'm not mistaken, the mandatory, but I need to see him versus Canelo, and I'm going to say why. That fight has been built. This is the fight that we thought we would have seen by now. You know, when Canelo wound up taking the James Kirkland fight because he was waiting to make a deal with Cotto, and Cotto, they said they couldn't agree on money split or one thing or another. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I hope they can get it done now because I am ready to see that. And I gotta say, I'm gonna say this, listen, if this Cotto shows up, that's been impressive in all of his last 3 fights, he will beat Canelo Alvarez, and that's against my original pick. I picked Canelo Alvarez to take it. But he will beat Canelo Alvarez if he looks this impressive, like he did tonight against Canelo. What do you think?
Well, just touching on the fight, you had a lot of really good points, and the one thing that I wanted to touch on, when you say fighter A, or in this case that Daniel Geale looked reluctant, people take that as you're making an excuse for Geale. But you're not. What you tried to do in this case was to see why he was reluctant, because we've seen fights in the past where a fighter has a certain style, but all of a sudden they're not fighting that way anymore, or they're fighting differently. And in this case, you're right. The jab of Miguel Cotto, which is one of the best punches in boxing, I personally think Miguel Cotto has the best jab in boxing. I mean, it gave Floyd Mayweather fits. I mean, Floyd Mayweather talked about it after they fought, that his jab kept him off balance every now and then. So I think his jab had a lot to do with it. I think the body punching of Miguel Cotto had a lot to do with it. And I actually think the movement of Miguel Cotto had a lot to do with it as well. He wasn't always going backwards, but when he was going backwards, he would switch it up because when he punched, he'd move forward and punch and land hard too. He landed a lot of very hard shots on Daniel Geale tonight. But going into some of the notes that I wrote down for the fight, I actually thought the first 2 rounds Miguel Cotto looked a little bit defensive in his own regard. And a little bit reluctant. I think he realized that there was a really big weight disparity in this fight, so he was gauging himself. And then that 3rd round, he really became comfortable in what he was doing, and he was setting traps for Geale that Geale eventually fell for in that 4th round because that left hook was set up beautifully by body punches. I thought he set that punch up very well. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Miguel Cotto did what he had to do. He was the favorite in this fight. We all knew he was going to win this fight. I mean, I hate to be, Mr. Hindsight 2020 person, but, I mean, you got to call a spade a spade. I didn't hear too many people saying Daniel Geale was actually going to win the fight. I didn't even think it was going to be a close fight, even if it made it to the cards.
Right.
So with all that said, you're right. The fight between Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez absolutely has to happen. They've been in negotiations at least 2 times in the past that we're aware of. And they've came close to making the fight both of those times, and for whatever reason, it hasn't happened. But the rumor has it now that HBO only broadcasted this fight tonight because they had an agreement with Miguel Cotto that he would fight Canelo Alvarez later in the year. So I'm really hoping that rumor pans out because that's a fight that I really want to see from a boxing fan's perspective. Now going into, as far as prediction-wise, man, that fight's so hard to call for me because you have 2 fighters that are probably going to come forward in that fight. I mean, I think Cotto might box a little early on, but once it's said and done and the middle rounds go and they're both warmed up, they're going to stay in front of each other. There's not going to be much moving. Do you know what I mean? They're both there to fight. So with that said, I think Miguel Cotto, I think he sets his shots up a little better than Canelo, but I think Canelo's stronger and I think he's a bit faster of hand than Miguel Cotto is. And the experience factor is definitely on Miguel Cotto's side. And I was actually talking to a friend before we started this podcast, and I was saying that's a pick'em fight to me. It really is. Unless something changes later on, maybe, I know me and you've talked before, weigh-ins really sway my decisions in fights. Something small is going to have to make me pick a winner. But in terms of a boxing fan, I do want Canelo Alvarez to win that fight if that fight should go down. I think him winning that fight would kind of symbolize a passing of the torch type deal where, Canelo has beaten the older but proven Miguel Cotto, and then he goes on to become a bigger and bigger star for boxing. So I think from a boxing perspective, I think it'd be better if Canelo won, but man, to me, that's an absolute pick'em fight. I don't know who would win if it gets set up for later this year.
Given, well, you know what? Just I don't know. I even just stopped myself in my train of thought. Given how they both look extremely impressive with both knockouts,
yeah,
it's gonna be a great fight. You know what?
It is.
I don't want to pick right away.
It's gonna be. I mean, it's gonna be fight of the year. I don't think anything's gonna come close to it. To be honest with you,
I dare to say this: that fight will be better than Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather fight.
Oh yeah, that
fight would be better.
I agree. I definitely agree. There's gonna be a lot more clean punches, and the thing, I mean. And I think there's going to be a level of respect that's going to be thrown out the window that really wasn't with the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Both Mayweather and Pacquiao, and I don't want to be too long-winded on that, they just both seemed, even after they landed a punch, they seemed to respect each other so much that they didn't want to follow it up with anything. In this fight, if someone lands, they're not going to show that level of respect. When they land and they see blood, they're going to go for the kill because they're both that way. They're both great finishers,
We both said that in the Manny Pacquiao Floyd fight. After a while, it just seemed like 2 older guys that didn't really want to get hit.
Right.
But this fight, I think there'll be a lot of hitting to be had.
Oh yeah, they're gonna bring it. They're definitely gonna bring it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this one was short and sweet. We just wanted to get right to the basic points. Give you ideas of what we thought. You know that we'll be back soon, either giving you prediction analysis, or we'll be giving you an interview. I'm not sure which one's going to come first, but one thing is you can always depend on us to give you some boxing sometime soon. So I just want to say, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for choosing us. You can look at anything you want. You can watch any fighting interviews, any fighting podcast, but you guys chose us, and I want to thank you for choosing us. I want you guys to stick with us. I want you guys to like this, comment, share, do all three of them. We really appreciate you. Also, guys, please subscribe to us. That also helps. We're going to continue giving you more and more. Frank, anything you want to say?
Most definitely not, man. Other than tonight was a great night of boxing, and I hope that we continue to get good fights.
All right, thank you. You guys have a great one. God bless you.